Hi, so welcome to this short video on shapes in P5. This is the first in a short series of videos to get you up and running and drawing shapes. In this video, we're going to look at how to draw one rectangle and how to run your code. So this is really basic getting started stuff. Here is the P5 web editor. I've already provided you a link to this, and actually this is what you'll see when it opens up. What I'd like you to do to start off is go to the end of line 6 right here. I'm at the end of line 6, at the very end of line 6, hit enter, so you have a new line now. And you're right below the background line, and that's where you're going to write your first line of code to draw shapes in P5. And I'd like to start off by drawing a rectangle. In the function for drawing a rectangle in P5 is the first 4 letters, rect, to draw a rectangle, followed by open close parentheses, and then we're going to put 4 numbers separated by commas inside these parentheses. So that's what it's going to look like. Want to guess what these 4 numbers are going to be? Well, it's information that P5, that the computer needs in order to draw the rectangle. So what information would you need? What's the minimum information you would need to draw a rectangle? You would need to provide the location of the rectangle. So I'm going to just start with coordinates. These are XY coordinates, 100, 100. And then we'll also need to provide the width and the height of the rectangle. So width of 50 and height of 40, let's say. So here we go. I have added this 1 line of code, and then I can push the run button to draw my rectangle. And there we go. We see the canvas over here. This large gray area is the canvas. And here's the rectangle that I just drew in there. Now, the process for running this code is important here. So I'm going to take a picture of my screen so I can draw on it a little bit. Okay, let's look at this together. Here's the screen I was just on, and a couple important things to note. So I'm showing a little more space on the screen here than I was on the video. You're always going to write code in this code window here. So this is where all the code that you write is going to go. Specifically, for now, you'll be writing inside this draw function. So that's where we're going to put all our code right now. And what do I mean by inside the draw function? Well, just like you know about functions, we need some way to indicate where the start of commands that are included in the function are and where's the end of the command. So the draw function is a set of instructions that you're giving the computer to draw. And so we need to include all of your drawing commands inside that set of instructions. And so that set of instructions is maybe I can zoom in here a little bit, is started by that curly brace and ends with that curly brace. So that means any lines of code that you want to write, you have to put between these two curly braces. So that means when you want to write more code, there's not room right now, I put my cursor right here and hit enter a couple times, and that will create new blank lines in here that where you can add your code. So that's the first important thing to note here about running your code, is where you put your code. It's got to be inside the draw function. Okay, next thing to note about running your code is after you add some code, you should only add small bits of code at a time. After you add your code, you're going to come up here and look for this play button. So you push the play button, and your code will run and display the result over here in the preview window. So that's where the result of your code running will display. And sometimes we make errors. In fact, we all make errors often. And so any error messages that P5 is going to give you are going to show up over here in the console. So you'll look there, just like in other places where you've had a console where error messages show up, or sometimes you might want to print something to the console. It's sort of an information screen that's only available to you, the developer. Once you publish this program, the people who use your program won't see that space. So after you've checked for error messages, then you come back up here and write more code. So it's sort of like this loop from code to play to look to error to code to play, and you'll just keep going around in that loop. So that's the basics of how you run code. So if you want to add more rectangles, all you got to do is put some more calls to the rectangle function inside the draw function. So we could add another one here that's like 200, 100, and maybe we'll make it a little larger this time, 80 and 30. And then I'm going to go push my play button, which you can't see on my screen. That runs, and here's my second rectangle. Here's my second rectangle now. All right, so I'm going to stop the video here. I'd like you to take a moment now to go into P5 and add some rectangles onto the canvas. Add a few rectangles and see if you can make an interesting design, maybe like a winking robot shape. That seems to be like what mine is heading towards. Anyway, just play around with it a little bit, get a little bit comfortable with drawing rectangles and running code, and I'll see you in the next video.